we talk about artificial intelligence and how it can revolutionize your business planning and analytics, it's really important to understand just how critical the role is that people play in the success of AI in business planning analytics. So, this video, we're going to cover not so much the AI, but more about the people and the process that need to surround it to get this to work. So, I've got a little slide here which does a really good job, I think, of covering off all of the key points that have to happen for this to be a success. Now, if you like, the key meeting of the month is the monthly business review. And we're representing a month here with 4 weeks, weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the very last meeting of the month, so in day 19, day 20 of week 4, is the monthly business review, or MBR. It's typically headed up by the CEO, and it's a chance to make sure that the business plan is tracking and that the business strategy is being followed. And in some companies, they call it sales and operations planning, S&OP. Other companies, they call it IBP, integrated business planning, or in many companies, they just call it a business review. The point is, a whole bunch of work has to happen before you can have the MBR. And in this slide, we're going to see what all of that work is. So let's start at the beginning of the month. So in the first day or the second day, you typically have, hopefully, a fully automated system that runs through all of the work that has happened the month prior, and it comes and summarizes all of your performance in key performance indicators. So by day 1 or 2, you're able to review the previous month. You can look at forecast accuracy, bias. You can see how your sales are tracking against budget. Now, not only are you looking at the sales against budget for last month, but you're also looking at the entire year. So given that 1 month has now been completed, how does the full year outlook of your expected profitability, for instance, compare with the full year budget or the annual operating plan? So each month, at the beginning of the month, a couple of days are spent, hopefully with automated reports, spitting out all of these answers for you based on the actuals that closed at the end of the previous month. So I've got here the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. This is basically just an IT role, making sure that all these cogs are turning and that you do get the report out on the first day of a new month, or at worst case scenario, the second day. When you talk about IBP and S&OP, they often talk about a 5-step plan. And so they don't often include this first step. So I'm just calling this step 0 to say that you still need to kind of do it for this to work. And it also highlights the fact that if you're manually doing this stuff, you really, you're going to lose the battle before you even start, because you need to have all of this up and running in the first or second day of the month. If that's the case, you're ready in week 1, days 2 to 5 here, for the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, to head up a marketing strategy review or a range review. This is where you look at all the products or services that you provide. And here is where you would bring up any new products. So if you've been doing NPD, new product development, this is where you'd bring it up. And it's a good one to do at the start of the month, because you typically are preparing for this in the weeks prior or the months prior, and you might even have a full year calendar of when you're going to release new products, new services to the market. So it doesn't matter that it's in the first, second or third day of the month, because you're not really relying on the month-end results. You're able to just talk about your product calendar and whether or not you're launching the products according to plan. So this is a range review. We basically confirm what products or what services you are selling and in what locations you are selling them. So again, often referred to as a range review. It's headed up by marketing. And one of the important points here is market intel. So if we talk about humans plus AI is better than AI, what do we mean by humans, or how does that come into play? And one of the key terms that people refer to is MI. And when they say MI, they're talking about market intelligence. And basically, it's all the stuff that the AI or the computer system or the ERP, enterprise resource planning system, it's all of the stuff that your system doesn't know about. So for instance, it could be that one of your competitors has started selling a product similar to yours, and there's no information in the system about that. So the AI has got no chance to know that you're going to have a dive in sales. Or it could be the other way around. You might have a new customer that you've just sold, and you're going to sell twice as many products because of this new customer. And again, the AI isn't aware of that. So this is all kind of grouped into one thing called MI, or market intelligence. And another way to rewrite this little piece in the top left, it would be that MI plus AI is better than AI. When you measure accuracy of forecast, you typically measure both. So you measure what is called the full demand plan, which is the MI plus the stat forecast, or the AI forecast. and you can check very quickly to make sure that the manual human intelligence, the manual inputs are actually improving the results of your forecast. So you can very quickly check on that. All right, so let's say week one has been completed. You've done a range review. Marketing have talked about their strategy, and you've done the monthly review. You're ready for the next stage in week two, which is the demand review. Now, this is where it is typically headed up by sales. So you've got your chief sales officer heading up the whole thing. They've got a little bit longer because they are pretty much going to be adjusting their forecast based on what happened in the previous month. So they've got a week here to analyze the data and get their ducks in line. And then they're ready in week two to start preparing a revised demand plan or do a demand review, which typically happens at the end of week two. So the step two in an IBP process, S&OP process, step two is typically a demand review. It's done towards the end of the second week. And we're just going to be checking that the sales strategy is still in play. And of course, this has to come after the range review because if new products are being sold, they need to be taken into account as part of the demand review. Here in the range review, this is really more about products and services and what's happening with new products. It could be what's happening with promotions in the marketplace, and it's typically brand or product-driven promotions. When we go into week two and we're looking at the demand review and it's sales heading it up, we're often looking at customers. So are there new customers coming in, or are there old customers that are leaving? And this customer churn or these customer changes will have an effect on our demand. And so after they've seen what the new product range is, they then overlay it with the knowledge they have of the customers to lock in, by the end of week two, an unconstrained demand plan, or often just referred to as a demand plan. Now, while all of this is happening, you can see we've got one business app in the middle. So you've got your dashboard or your app or your AI assistant. You've got your system effectively as a hub that is providing a single point of entry to one version of the truth. So in day one or day two, these dashboards are updated with all the actuals. So everyone knows at the beginning of the month what happened last month and how that's impacting the full year. Marketing come along and they say, here's an update to the products or services that we offer. And then after they have the range review, which is typically, let's say, on day five, we have sales come along and say, well, given that this is the range review that's been locked in at the end of week one, we're going to talk about the demand, and we'll be able to lock that in by the end of week two. So it can then be handed over to operations to do a supply review. Again, just as sales had a full week, typically operations need a full week because they're not going to be able to start on some of their analysis until the end of the demand review on day 10 of week two. So day 11 kicks off, and this is where operations are super busy, or the supply chain intelligence team or the supply planning team all get in, have a look at what's been going on with the updates to the forecast, and they work out what can they actually supply. So for instance, if marketing come up with a new product that no one had talked about, and sales talk about a new customer that no one had ever heard about, there's not very much chance that supply can turn everything around in a day. In most companies, you have some kind of lead time or a frozen period where operations will say, look, we can flex and we can adjust to what's happening in the market and what's happening with our customers, but we need at least a month's notice before we can make these changes. So it's in this stage that operations go through the plan. They may adjust the supply plan they locked in the month prior, and they just make sure that this is all in line with their operations and supply chain strategy. So you've got your chief operation officer who's heading that one. And by the end of week three, you've got a locked off supply plan, which is often referred to as the constrained demand plan. And you can see how that compares to the unconstrained demand plan that was offered up by sales and marketing. Finance come along in week four and they do what's called a cash up. So they look at all the changes based on changes in the supply plan, the exiting of, say, some customers, the introduction of new products. They cash it all up so that they're ready for the monthly business review. They're ready to basically talk dollars. So based on all these changes that have happened, not only are we looking at what happened at month end and whether you lost or gained in your actuals the month prior, you're also looking at the changes to all the forecasts. And finance cash it up ready to present their financial plan, ensuring, of course, that it's in line with their financial strategy to the CEO in the final couple of days of the fourth week. There's your monthly business review ready to go. So that's just a quick overview. We did that in less than 10 minutes. We've run through the a process that helps you maximize AI to make sure that's delivering value to your business. And you can see that it's absolutely critical that you have some way of handling market intelligence or MI, because it's not only in this step that you do market intel. You might have sales making some changes as well, operations, of course, and even finance come in to look at risks and opportunities. They might want to de-risk a few issues, and these adjustments are typically done through some kind of manual intervention, which all has to be presented to the CEO before the end of the month. All right, that's our process for business planning analytics. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.